We're talking about solving quadratic functions by square roots, and we want to solve each equation using the square root. So here we have example 3. We have 3x squared plus 48 equals 0. So in this case, what we want to do is we want to use GEMDAs. If we're going to solve using the square root, and we always start with addition or subtraction and work our way to groups. So first thing we look for is addition and subtraction, and we see that we have addition, so we're going to be able to do inverse operations here. So instead of adding 48, we're going to subtract 48. And then we get 3x squared equals negative 48. Then the next thing that we look for is we have 3x squared equals negative 48. We have multiplication 3 times x squared. So in order to undo multiplication, we can use division. So we're going to divide by 3. And then we get x squared equals negative 16. So then we look, do we have any more addition and subtraction? No. Any multiplication and division? No. Exponents? Yes, we do. We have a square. And in order to get rid of the squared term, we have to take the square root of both sides. So we're going to deal with our exponent, which is going to be the square root of both sides. And anytime we take the square root when solving, we have to use plus or minus. So the square root cancels the square. We took the square root when solving, so that has to be plus or minus. And then we have the square root of negative 16. Now, if we use our calculator and plug this in and we say x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 16, or if we type in the square root of negative 16 in our calculator, we're going to get an error. And that is because we can write the square root of 16 as, or negative 16 as the square root of 16 times the square root of negative 1. And we remember that the square root, anytime we have the square root of negative 1, that is equal to I. So the square root of 16 is 4, and the square root of negative 1 is I. So when I write this down, we can say x equals plus or minus 4i. We can also write down x equals 4i and x equals negative 4i. So those are all, we can also write it down as two answers with the positive and the negative, or one answer with the plus and minus to represent two different solutions.